Her name is Chris. She's a wise and wonderful woman. She's a mother and an entrepreneur. And one time I said to Chris, Chris, you're a successful businesswoman. You've got lots of stories. Someday, Chris, you ought to write a book. And she smiled and said to me, oh, Stan, I already am. In fact, I'm writing 4 books. 4 books? She says, yes. Stan, I'm writing 4 books, all of them in the lives of my children. Yeah. You see, you may or may not write a book, but you can truly leave a legacy, something of incredible value in how you give yourself and your learning and your wisdom and your life to another. What the world needs now is not more love, though we can use that, but it needs a lot more wisdom and it needs a lot more people who care. So today, on the Marketing Life Coach, we're going to be talking about mentoring. And we're going to challenge you to get a mentor and be a mentor so you can truly make a difference. Join us today on Marketing Life Coach. Welcome back, and thank you for your time and your attention, and thank you for your response. In particular, I want to thank my good friends at NAFA, the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, who are really taking a part as I have been gifted and graced by them to be their marketing coach. So many of you who join us in that organization, we're glad that you're with us, and we want it to go well for you. Well, I'm Stan Houston. Today I have a special guest. We're going to talk about them. His name is Bob Clark. Bob, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, Bob is going to be one of those persons who I've talked about. Remember, I've said that the best always have a coach. And that's why you need a coach, a marketing life coach. But the great ones have many coaches. I was reading an article by Michael Jordan the other day in the Golf Digest. And remember, Michael Jordan said that the secret of his success was in his skills and in his habits. But his skills and habits were made better because he had a coach. And last week we met Sam. Sam, he is my social media man, and he coaches me on a variety of understanding the social media. Well, Bob, you're one of my coaches because I have always believed, just as I said in the introduction, that we are all called to a legacy project. You know, someday we're going to be gone.
This is true.
We're going to be gone. You know, we're all leaving. You know, someone once wrote to John Steinbeck, said, "You'll never get out of this life alive." And Steinbeck,
he made a good point.
He made a good point. He was mad at him, but the point was right. We're all going to be gone. And what I'm asking people to do is both in terms of your life legacy, but even more important right now, for the success of your business, it makes sense. First of all, if you're young and beginning in the business, find a mentor, find a coach. In effect, in an old-fashioned way, apprentice yourself to a master to help you learn the business and learn how to be successful. And for those of you who have had some success in life, if you look back at it, you'll probably discover, if you're honest, that it happened not just because you were good and great, it's because somebody took some time to perhaps even informally mentor you and to be with you and to help you be successful. And I'm kind of on a mission right now, along with people like Bob, is we would like to make sure that every industry, that's right, every business, and particularly those of us who work in the financial services, that we are going to achieve our success and the success for our clients and customers because we become mentors to one another and we become mentors to others who are joining the industry and seeking to be successful. So that's our call, isn't it?
Sounds great. You make a lot of great points there, Stan.
Well, Bob, not only do you teach me about mentoring, but you're actually not only a theoretician, and you've helped me a great deal in understanding mentoring, but you've actually done it.
Well, yes, I've been happy that I've been able to help you, but yes, I've got a long background.
Well, first of all, you're right, you have a long background. He's not young.
It's been around a while.
He's been around. But tell us a little bit of your story, Bob.
Well, although I'm originally from the East Coast, I actually began working here in Tucson, Arizona as a high school teacher in South Point High School. I was a high school Latin and history teacher.
Wow.
And it was great. And I learned a lot, of course, as well as had the opportunity to teach a lot of fine young men and women. But I moved back to the East Coast and got involved in the insurance business. Worked a short while in the property and casualty side with Travelers. And then I moved over to Prudential, first as a trainer because of my background.
Okay.
And then I became an agent, did well at that, and I was offered a position as a sales manager and developed a fine unit of young men and women and used some of the skills I learned as a trainer. And then eventually I was asked to become an agency manager and had the great opportunity to lead and train and hire many young men and women for the Greater Princeton agency of the Prudential. Also, I ran another agency for the Prudential and then was promoted to be a vice president of marketing with the Prudential, and then I joined the international division. Loved that. Had a chance to work in Argentina and in Poland as chief marketing officer, where we opened up a life subsidiary. Hiring, training, and mentoring. And mentoring is so important, has been throughout my career. Fine young men and women.
Now, the thing that struck me, that obviously you brought some gifts. You worked hard, and I'm going to tell you, this guy was really good.
Well, thank you, Stan.
He did really well in his career. But the thing that struck me, Bob, is that as you were writing and helping me, you didn't say mentoring is good for an organization. You took it even further. Would you explain that?
It's extremely important for an organization. You know, I've been a big believer all my life in the saying, inspect what you expect. I also believe in the cash formula, which I learned years ago.
The cash formula.
Through Gamma, mainly, and from other fine agency managers who mentored me. And cash means knowledge, attitudes, skills, and habits. Now, anyone can have the knowledge by reading a book. For example, if you were going to be a pilot, you might read a book and know a lot about how to fly an airplane. And you might have a very positive attitude as well. But no one is going to want to go up in an airplane with you unless you have the skill. And you've honed that skill time and time again through good development of a habit. And that's the same way in the financial services industry. You need to have someone who's a mentor who can lead you, who can help develop your skill and develop it in a habit. So mentoring is extremely important, not only on a pure skill level, but on an emotional level as well. And I have to tell you that in my entire career, I have to say that mentoring helped me be successful and helped me make other men and women in the financial services and insurance industry successful.
And it wasn't just a nice thing to do or an option. You took it to the point of saying is that if you want to have a successful, let's even use the old, cowboy term here in Tupri, you got an operation, you got a group, you got people together. You had to have not just a casual mentoring program, not just a maybe mentoring program, but it had to be fundamental to the whole operation, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I truly enjoyed bringing quality young men and women into the organization. But I felt that I had a tremendous responsibility to make them successful. And it was incumbent upon me to mentor them properly and create a well-structured mentoring program. Not a haphazard program, but one that had checks and balances and levels of growth.
And didn't have maybes in it.
No maybes.
That was a term. We do these things.
No maybes. It wasn't just, well, by the way, I'll see you at the water cooler and talk to you later on about it. No, we had specific times during the program where we would sit, train, work with the new agents and not only new representatives, but also other representatives that maybe have plateaued and you needed a mentor to bring them to a higher level, or to those that have actually reached like MDRT level. All of us, including management, need mentors. someone to be kind of a third party, to be outside of ourselves, that can look upon us and say, maybe you need to improve in this area, let me help you, and I can help you.
You know, we have an expression that I learned that says, we don't know who discovered water, but we're darn sure it wasn't the fish.
That's for sure.
Because, you know, you're in something.
That's
you know,
right.
And you really need somebody from an outside perspective. You know, some of us have wives and spouses who help us, very much so from time to time.
It goes back to sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. You've got to get above it all. And maybe you can't do it, and you've got to have a mentor who's going to help you do that and stay with you. As I said, habits are extremely important. Mm-hmm. You don't develop a skill one time. You need to work on it, to continue to work on it, to hone it, hone it, hone it. And that's what mentoring does. Mentoring helps you to think outside the box, you might say, outside of the 9 dots, and it helps you to improve. You can't really do it all by yourself. It's the rare person that can. You need a mentor, no matter at what level you are, to help you grow, or mentors. It could be more than one. Yeah. And if you have a well-structured program, that's the way you want it to be.
I had one friend who has taught me. He's kind of our age and stage, and he's gone through a lot, you know, and he simply said, Stan, I have discovered, and thank you, Verge, for putting this together. He says, independent intelligence is terminal. You know, that if we just are trying to do it alone.
Absolutely true. You can't do it alone. You know, we're all limited. We have certain skills. But there are others that may have skills that are better than ours. I always felt that I needed to hire people as good as or better than me and have those kind of people on my team to help me create a successful and grow a successful organization. I always believe that good players make good coaches. Yes, I might be a good coach as an agency manager, but I need other coaches around me, and I needed quality people to create that synergy. And mentoring was a tremendous part of that synergy to have a successful organization.
So you said we are not just an organization that's involved in production. We are involved in reproduction.
Yes, and we're involved in people development. We are very much involved in and interested in developing the individual. We cared about the people we brought in, the men, women in our organization, not just from a business standpoint, but from a personal standpoint as well. Mentoring almost creates family. Yeah, you almost have that feeling, but you care because you care about the person, not only in a business sense, but on a personal sense as well.
Well, one of the things we're trying to emphasize here at the Marketing Life Coach, and people say, why do you call it Marketing Life? And I say, well, it's your life that attracts people. It's your energy, your personality, your wisdom, your ability to perform and serve other people. Now, Prudential's a good company, but you'll be the first to admit there's a lot of good companies.
There's a lot of good companies with a lot of good people out there.
And a lot of good products, but people will, first of all, buy you.
Absolutely. People buy you first more than anything. Right. Yes, they buy the company, they buy the products if they see the products fulfill their needs, but it has to start with you as well. And so you have to be the kind of person that people like, understand, and know that you are interested in them.
Because you knew, and this is why I particularly thought that Bob was helpful. He said, they will buy my people first. Then they'll buy their companies. And then they'll buy the products. But unless they buy the people first,
it all starts with you. It all starts with your value system, your morals, your ethics, how you believe, how you present yourself. And it becomes quite evident to most people right away what kind of person you really are. And can you be trusted? Trust is such a major issue.
And if they don't like you, it doesn't matter whether they like your company, because they probably won't.
They can go, how many companies are there?
That's right.
How many other financial services and insurance organizations
The industry's been commoditized, Bob. We know that.
So it's really right here between the individual and the two individuals here. And mentoring has a lot to do that, because in mentoring, again, you're not just mentoring a person for how he can perform a fact finder, but how genuinely he is or she is and how well they present themselves.
Well, this is one of the reasons we're doing this is in a very timely way is we're producing a book. And in fact, it's going to be coming out at the end of February, 1st of March. In fact, my friend Josh will now show you the cover of the book. And as you see, it's called Having Conversations That Count. Having Conversations That Count. The Financial Advisor's Guide to Performance Mentoring. And that's a key word. We just didn't say mentoring. It's about
That's
performance.
right.
Now, Bob, maybe you can because you helped me with that term. What do we mean when we say performance?
Performance means a number of different things. It not only means to develop the person personally, but it also means to improve upon the person's skills. So if you take it to the fact-finding or feeling-finding part of an interview, you need to help your representative to know how to do that properly, to really understand the client that they're discussing the needs with. So it is important to keep honing those skills of how well you ask a question, of how much empathy you really have. And you need to be empathetic and understanding to the client. You need to put yourself in some ways in their position. And in that way you can perform on a much better scale, and also you're really helping that person. You're not selling products. You're helping a client fulfill his or her needs and building a business.
And we're very clear about that, and performance also means production. It means you get something done.
Of course. This is a business.
That's right.
I mean, the idea here is that you can perform and provide better for your family.
Right.
Okay? But you want it to be done in a proper way, that you really are helping the client. The client will understand that immediately and will be glad that you're there and glad that you are earning what you need to earn, what you deserve to earn for what you've done to help them improve their situation.
In fact, I have a fun line that I oftentimes teach people, and good people understand it. Sometimes somebody might ask, well, how do you get paid? You know, they're talking about commissioner fees, and I've kind of said, you should say with a smile is, I get paid well.
That's right.
I get paid well because I work really hard, I perform well, and I serve you well.
That's right. If you do a good job in the business, and to me it's always been a business where I felt I was helping others, not only the people I hired to improve their skills and their quality of life, but also the clients that we service. To me, that was always extremely important. That's part of my basic nature, part of my basic value system. And I hope that I have shown that clearly, and I think that the people I've worked with over the years and trained and mentored have done well and are deserving of all that they've earned in the business.
Now, the book is going to come out. It's going to be a short book. We're supposed to be able to read it in about an hour and a half. We're finding out that a good book, you know, I had a friend one time who said it was a good 30-page book, but unfortunately he crammed it into 300. And so what we have is Bob has worked. Bob has written a part of the appendix for me, particularly for those of you who are in leadership. He's really got a section there on how to really make a mentoring program operational. Just to have some fun, let me actually show you a little bit of what we call the marketing life or the performance mentoring model. And as you will see, the first step is you affirm a person. No matter what, you affirm them.
That's
put
important.
Goodness in front of them.
That is extremely important, that they feel that they're important.
That's right. Please tell me.
You recognize their existence and that they're a valuable person.
Do it for your colleagues and do it for your clients. Then the second step is pay attention.
Absolutely. Have focus. Look the person in the eye.
Listen to them.
Listen to everything that they are saying and understand it. And you can even repeat it back if I understand you correctly. And that affirms that you are...
See, it goes right back.
Right. It goes back to the affirmation that you are listening to them, that they are important.
Yeah, and then from that, then you are able to decide on, well, what should we concentrate on? What's the issue before us? What's the problem? How can I be helpful? So you go from affirmation to attention to concentration.
Absolutely. I've often said, and it's not something I've invented, but people buy for their reasons and not yours.
That's right.
So you need to pay attention to what their reasons are.
And then don't say, well, I have to talk about all of this. Concentrate on what they want to talk about.
You have to be an excellent, not just a good, an excellent listener. You have to be a good and excellent listener to really help people. You need to understand their needs.
That's right. So concentration. Then as people begin to trust this, then you are able to move to the next step, which as we see is to give them some sense of direction. Because they're looking for it now. Why don't we do this? With your permission, could we talk about that?
That is your job as the professional. That is what you have been trained for, to listen. And with your background, with your knowledge, now to guide them to make the right steps.
Now, are you beginning to see what Bob and I did? these are not only good mentoring steps for working with one of your colleagues, but these are great steps for working with clients.
These are great steps for working with your children.
That's right.
And members of your family and friends as well, paying attention. And they see that you are a genuine person, and they're there because you respect them and like them and can help them.
And then we say, the word benediction. Now, both Bob and I are spiritual men, but benediction in a church service usually means the service is coming to an end, but it also means something else, because the word benediction comes from the word bene. I think it's a little Latin.
Bene, yeah, and
diction,
to speak
good
well
to another.
Spoken.
To speak well to another.
Absolutely.
And as I point out,
you're bringing me back to my Latin.
That's
days,
right.
My teacher.
When we say to another person, "And may it go well with you."
That is a benediction.
That is a benediction. When
Absolutely.
Mr. Spock, from our age and stage, said, "Live long and prosper," he was pronouncing a benediction. Right.
And that's important. And by the way, that's extremely important when you're working with people. One of the ways you can give a benediction is to say congratulations on what you have done. You've done well for yourself, as well as thank you. But that's a form of benediction. You want to bless what has happened.
That's right.
And you can feel good about it inside yourself, that you've done something well to help another.
And that's where it leads to. And as you see, this means, as my friend Chris said, you literally are writing a book, making a lasting impression, first of all, perhaps in the life of your client, but this could also be in the life of a colleague. And as Bob would be the first to say is, who knows that when you want to move on and spend more time doing anything else, if you want to live more in Tucson and less on the East Coast, the man or woman that you mentored becomes the one who carries on after you.
That is true. A successorship type of a program.
Right.
Okay? If you're in the business, you want to, again, hire quality people. Well, you also want to hire or have someone who is a quality person be your successor if you're in the business. You want that chain. You want it to continue.
Both for your client?
Right, for your client and for yourself as well. You want to have that feeling that you're not just leaving your client or clients, but you're continuing to provide them the support that they deserve. I mean, it's extremely important.
And Bob, you and I have the same feeling, because the average age of the insurance or investment advisor right now is around 56.
Yes, and this is why, again, mentoring is so important. I think in some ways we've fallen away from properly mentoring new people that we bring into the business. We've got to get back to the basics, where we look for the quality person that we feel can do well on our business, and then provide them the training, help them to develop a skill, and continue to mentor them to grow and grow in our business.
Bob, just as we're coming kind of close to the end of the show, we always like to tell stories. Do you have a particular story that has meant something to you about a mentoring experience that was neat and good for you?
Yes, I can recall a time when we brought this young man into the business, a high-quality guy, very wonderful family type of individual, and he became one of our new representatives. And he began to struggle, particularly with difficulty closing. He had difficulty closing.
Oftentimes nice people do.
And yes, he had difficulty because he tended to, as I would say, he wasn't empathizing enough in the interview. He was so concerned about the mechanics of the interview that even though he was a genuine person, he was not conveying that to the people he was speaking with the client or the prospect. And we worked with him through not only role play, which is a part of mentoring,
performance.
We teamed him up with another representative who had become a mentor, who at one time had an issue with that same problem. And there was a chemistry there between him. And as a result of that, that seasoned agent who understood the difficulty that the new representative was having was able to help him overcome that and to show that he really had this deep concern for the prospect or for the client that he was dealing with. And this young man became a tremendous success in our industry. Not only a conference qualifier, but an MDRT qualifier as well. That one sticks out because there was a time at which I was getting worried that we would lose him in the organization. And everyone I tried to hire, I had a personal commitment to. I firmly believe, and I'm sure many managers feel this way, that the reason we hired this individual, we know he could be successful and we could make him successful.
So, thank you. Well, you know, Bob, we love stories, and as I was thinking about this, and by the way, we want you to really get in touch with us. We'll be telling you more about the book. Bob's going to be back on occasion. He's kind of my mentoring coach, and he helps me on that, and we'll be talking about that.
Yes.
You know, so if you want to be in touch with us, again, it's stan@marketinglifecoach.com, stan@marketinglifecoach.com, and we'd be happy to help you out any particular way. The book will be coming out. There'll be coaching and mentoring programs on how to be a mentor that Bob and I'll be putting on, and we want to transform the world. That's right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Transform the world through one person at a time. We transform a person, we transform an industry, we transform a company, and that's how it all begins, and that's the commitment we have. Bob, I was thinking about mentoring, and I remembered this a few weeks ago. My wife now has got the idea she wants a dog, you know, and when a woman wants a dog, you know, eventually we're going to get a dog, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, in effect, what happened is I was walking down the mall, and I was going by a pet shop, and I saw them. So I thought I'd just walk in and look at some dogs. And there were 3 small children literally standing on their tiptoe so they could play with the dog.
How cute.
Yeah,
How cute.
you see how fun it is.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I remember I had an older man who said to me, and this was his mentoring to me, he said, "Stan, the world is standing on tiptoe to see what will happen when a man or woman of character will give all they can for their career, their company, their clients, their customers, their country, and for all eternity." The world is standing on tiptoes to see what can happen when there's a man or woman so committed.
When a man or woman is committed and cares for another.
That's right. And so that's our challenge to you, to really, in this year before us, think about how you're going to build your business, how you're going to write a book in the life of another, how you're going to make a difference for your business and the business of someone younger and maybe a little less seasoned than you are. We're going to challenge you to be the difference by being a mentor. I'm Stan Hustad, along with
Bob Clark. Glad to be here.
And we wish you all the best and blessings. And until next time, bye for now.